There is a battery you can wheel through your front door right now that can power your heavy-duty appliances, a job that used to demand a fixed wall unit and a professional install, costing 5 figures. Jackery, an award-winning battery manufacturer, claims their system can back up 12 household circuits, run heavy 240-volt appliances, and kick in so fast during an outage that your Wi-Fi never drops. If it holds up, this portable box could completely disrupt the permanent, expensive home battery systems that have dominated the market. But claiming a portable unit can stand in for a permanent fixed system is a very bold statement. Today, we are putting the Jackery Explorer 5000 Plus under the microscope. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly if this unit can truly deliver home energy security without the massive price tag, and if it's the right move to future-proof your home. The reason sits in the outage data, and it is getting worse. In 2024, the average US electricity customer went without power for about 11 hours. That is nearly double the typical figure across the previous decade, and the highest in 10 years. Almost all of that came from extreme weather. Hurricanes alone accounted for around 80% of the lost hours, with Beryl, Helene, and Milton knocking out millions of customers. Strip the major events out, and routine interruptions still sit at roughly 2 hours a year, every year. So the threat is not the brief flicker. It is the multi-day blackout that follows a storm, when the freezer thaws, the well pump dies, and a medical device has nothing to run on. The standard fix for that is a fixed home battery, and it solves the problem at a steep cost. A wall unit like the Tesla Powerwall has to be permanently mounted, professionally wired, and signed off by the utility. Older homes often need a main panel upgrade before it can even go in, which adds thousands on its own. By the time it is installed, a single Powerwall can run from $13,500 to $16,500 all in. It also never moves. The battery is deeded to the house, so it stays behind when you do. Cutting that cost, the permanence, and the professional install is exactly what Jackery set out to do with the Explorer 5000 Plus. The idea is to take the output of a fixed home battery and put it in a box you can wheel around. At its core sits a 5040 watt-hour lithium iron phosphate battery, a chemistry chosen for its thermal stability and long life. Jackery rates the cells for 4,000 charge cycles before they drop to 70% of their original capacity. That works out to a decade or more of daily use. What makes it a home backup unit rather than a camping one is the inverter. It delivers 7,200 watts of continuous power. It can also surge to 14,400 watts for a few seconds, enough to handle the jolt of a motor starting. Crucially, it does this across both 120 and 240 volts at the same time, through standard heavy-duty outlets. That dual voltage trick is the whole point. It lets a portable unit run the heavy 240-volt loads that smaller stations cannot touch. Think of a well pump, an electric water heater, or a central air conditioner, with no separate transformer needed. The battery is also expandable. The base 5,040 watt-hours can grow to 60,000 watt-hours by stacking expansion units. So you start with enough for a fridge and some lights, then build toward backing up most of a house. You can use all that power two ways. The simplest is to plug appliances straight into the unit the way you would a generator, with nothing to install. The more capable route runs it through a 60-amp smart transfer switch. That wires into your main panel and can back up to 12 circuits at 120 volts. The clever part of that switch is its speed. When the grid fails, it hands over to the battery in 0 milliseconds, fast enough that connected electronics never notice. Your Wi-Fi router, your home server, and a desktop mid-save all stay running with no reboot. Then there is the recharge. The Explorer 5000 Plus accepts up to 4,000 watts of solar input, which is unusually high for its size, under a strong array that refills the base battery from empty in roughly 2 hours. A sunny afternoon during a long outage is enough to set you up for the night. All of that capability invites the obvious comparison. Against a fixed system, the numbers tell two different stories depending on what you measure. On raw storage cost, the portable unit looks expensive. The base Explorer 5000 Plus runs around $3,000. For 5,040 watt-hours, that works out to roughly $854 per kilowatt hour. A Powerwall's hardware comes in far cheaper per unit of storage, closer to $480 to $590 per kilowatt hour. but that gap closes the moment you count installation. The Powerwall's low hardware rate climbs to between $1,000 and $1,200 per kilowatt hour once labor, permits, and a possible panel upgrade are added in. The Jackery skips most of that. In bypass mode, it needs no utility approval, and the transfer switch is a far simpler job. The sharper contest is with the other portable heavyweights, the Anker Solix F3800 and the EcoFlow Delta Pro Ultra. Here the picture is genuinely competitive, and each rival has an edge. The Anker undercuts Jackery on base price and lands close on features, though it puts out less continuous power. The EcoFlow carries a larger base battery, expands further to 90,000 watt-hours, and costs more upfront. Against both, Jackery's standout figures are its 4,000 watt solar input and its true 240 volt output. Those are the two places it still leads the pack. There is also the cheap end of the market, the small portable stations that sell for a few $100s. Those are a fine fit for charging phones and running a laptop through a shortcut, but they cannot start a 240 volt appliance, cannot run a house, and cannot scale. They are answering a different question entirely. The reason a product like this lands now comes down to a gap. It is the gap between how the grid is graded and how it actually performs. The traditional planning standard aims for something close to 2 hours of expected outage a year. That target assumes the big power plants and high voltage lines are what determine reliability. The trouble is that more than 90% of customer outage hours come from the local distribution system instead. That means the lower voltage wires strung between poles, the ones wind, ice, and falling trees take down. Building more central generation does nothing for those wires. So as storms grow more frequent and more severe, the gap between the 2-hour target and the real-world 11-hour average keeps widening. The case for keeping your own power behind the meter grows with it. The second pressure is who that failure hits hardest. A multi-day blackout in a summer heatwave or a winter freeze is not just an inconvenience. For a household running a medical device or relying on a well pump for water, losing power becomes a genuine threat. That pushes people from passive grid customers toward managing their own backup. For all its capability, the Explorer 5000 Plus has real obstacles to clear before it becomes a normal fixture in American homes. The first is regulation, and it bites hardest as you scale up. National fire codes cap how much battery storage you can keep indoors, with a limit of 40 kilowatt hours in a basement or utility closet. Jackery advertises expansion to 60 kilowatt hours, but reaching that legally inside the house means splitting the batteries across a garage and an exterior wall. That adds cabling and complexity. For this to ease, building codes need to lift those indoor caps for stable chemistries like the one Jackery uses. Then there is the install itself, which is less plug and play than the marketing suggests. Wiring the transfer switch into your panel is a permanent job. In most places, a licensed electrician must do it and an inspector must sign it off. Skip the permit and you risk fines and a voided insurance policy if anything goes wrong. What would smooth this is a pre-approved meter collar switch that slots in without touching the main panel, plus clearer permitting paths built for portable systems. The biggest practical limit, though, is the cost of going truly off-grid for a week. Running a whole house for days needs multiple units, a stack of expansion batteries, and a large solar array. Portable, foldable panels cost roughly double what fixed rooftop ones do. The unit also drains a slice of its own charge, just sitting idle, keeping its electronics awake. Getting that week-long promise within reach depends on cheaper portable panels and firmware that sips far less power in standby. History also offers a warning. The home microgrids of the mid-2010s leaned on heavy lead-acid batteries that needed ventilated rooms and constant upkeep. Most were abandoned within a couple of years when owners neglected the maintenance. The newer lithium chemistry and sealed, self-managing design are built precisely to avoid that fate. But it is a promise the field data has yet to fully confirm. Even with those caveats, the direction of travel is clear, and the money is moving with it. Jackery's parent company folded its portable brand, together with a home energy arm in 2024, aiming squarely at whole home systems rather than camping kit. That signals a push toward integrated setups that pair the portable battery with smart electrical panels. The longer game is turning these batteries from passive backup into something that pays for itself. By linking a transfer switch to utility software, a home battery can sell power back to the grid during peak price hours. Some regional programs already pay up to around $1,500 a year for that kind of demand response. That would meaningfully shorten the payback on a system like this. If you are weighing one up today, the honest answer is that you can buy it right now, and the hardware does what it claims. The wait is not for availability. It is for the codes to loosen and the price per stored kilowatt hour to fall as the category matures. So the question the Explorer 5000 Plus really leaves you with is what you are buying the battery for. If you want the cheapest possible storage bolted to one house forever, a fixed wall unit still wins on price per kilowatt hour. But if you want heavy 240 volt output, room to expand, fast solar recharging, and a battery you can unplug and take to an RV or a cabin, you are paying a premium for exactly those things. For this unit, that premium is real. Cheapest storage you can never move, or pricier power that follows you anywhere. Where you land on that trade is what decides whether this is the right box for your home. If you found this useful and want to keep up with where home power is heading, hit subscribe and follow along, because we will keep breaking down the technology, reshaping how we keep the lights on.